Hello and welcome to another BlenderWiz video. This video is going to cover the two most basic elements in programming, variables and statements. Variables. What are they for? A variable is a data storage element that allows the computer to retain a piece of information for any given amount of time. Without variables, the computer is unable to remember, so to speak, a piece of data. What kinds of things can we store in a variable and how do we store them? We are able to store numbers, true-false data, and text in a variable. How do we know which one to use? Python is able to determine the kind of variable type to use when you initialize it. So, what kind of variable types are there? We have integers, which hold integer numbers, booleans, which hold a true or false value, floats hold a decimal number with 7 digits of precision, and doubles hold decimal numbers with 14 to 16 digits of precision. And finally, strings hold text. When you are initializing variables, make sure to keep track of the case because uppercase A and lowercase a are not the same. Case does matter. Arrays are another variable in that they store information. However, they are more closely related to data structures. An array provides us with a clean way to store many variables in one location. Python allows us to store many different kinds of variables in an array, whereas other languages constrict us to using one kind. Furthermore, in other languages, we must define the size of the array when we create it, and after that point, we are unable to change the size. Statements. What are they for? As stated on Wikipedia, a statement is the smallest standalone element. Data is stored in the RAM on the computer at runtime, and a statement goes in and changes the state of that memory when the program is running. Statements are broken down into two subgroups, simple statements and compound statements. Simple statements are, as they sound, simple. They consist of one easy-to-understand operation. Examples of simple statements are assignment statements, which assign values to variables, call statements, which tell a function when to run, return statements, which give back a value. If this doesn't make sense right now, that is fine. It will make more sense in the future. Goto statements, we won't be dealing with these in Python, but it transfers control of the program from one line of code to another. In general, people look down on goto statements as they are not good for structure. In other words, please do not use these ever. Assertion statements are special, as they are used for testing to make sure a program is working as it should. Another kind of statement is the compound statement. We have if-else statements, which allows the programmer to test the state of a variable. If something is true, do one thing, otherwise do something else. A while loop is a loop that will repeat a task until a condition is no longer met. If the condition is always true, then we get what is called an infinite loop. While loops are useful for instances where there is an unknown upper bound to the loop. For loops are similar to the while loop. It iterates until the condition is met. This kind of loop is good for instances where the upper or lower bound of a loop is known. For instance, when we are iterating through the elements of an array. Let's do a few examples. So, we will begin with assignment statements in Python. So open up a new interpreter by typing Python 3 or 3.3 depending on your Python. And you should get something that looks something like this. Now, let's begin with a very simple assignment. So type A equals 5, and there you go. That is your first assignment. We can now query the value of A, and it replies with 5. So A is now an integer with a value of 5. If for some reason you want to see what type of variable A is, you can use the type function. So type A, and it will reply class int. We can overwrite the data on A with anything we like. let's change a from being an integer to a string. So a equals hello. So now, if we press A, we can see that it's hello now. And if we do type A, it says string. Now, let's try a compound if statement. Let's overwrite A and set it back to 5, and let's assign a new variable B and set it to 4. The structure of an if statement is if condition, and of course it doesn't like this because that's not actually a condition, but then you have a statement. So let's do if A is larger than B, and make sure to tab in there because Python is actually white space sensitive. So if Python is complaining about an indentation error, make sure to indent what belongs inside of the block. We will get into blocks more in a future video. Also, you may either use spaces or tabs for indentation, but make sure to be consistent, otherwise Python will complain. So let's have it just print out hello, or hello everyone. Hello everyone. And of course, since A is larger than B, 5 is larger than 4, it prints. And we can see that this is working. If we do it the other way around. And you can actually just pull up previous lines by pressing the up and down arrow on the keyboard. And now if we do that, it doesn't print anything. So there you go. There are some simple various variable assignments and a very simple if statement. In future videos, I will give exercise questions for you to attempt. If you get stuck, don't worry, these are just for fun. I will post the answer code to the question a week after the question is posted. One thing that I ask, try not to just give out the answer to the questions in the comment section. Let other people work through them as well. So for this video, the exercise question is set a variable called a to 12, set another variable called variable to 50, use an if statement to test if a is less than the variable. If it is, print hello to the console, and then override the default end stream with a period instead of a new line character.